So this past weekend, it was hard summer. There's a gym close by, and as I was on the way to the gym, I was like, yo, this is epic. I see all the kids walking in. It was still daylight. It was still bright. It was still early. They all had the raver outfits. Everyone's excited. Everybody screaming, whoa, yeah. And it just brought back a wave of memories. And one of the things that I remember growing up as a kid was going to a rave. It was called Monster Massive. Now, Monster Massive was the rave that they held on Halloween. Now, I think they have one called Hard Summer. And that's the new one that everyone goes to on Halloween. But when I first went to Monster Massive, I think it was in 2000, and it landed exactly on daylight savings, which was pretty freaking epic. And this event was held at the Coliseum in Los Angeles, and this night was so rememberable. And you got to remember, in 2000 I was probably like 16 or something, 15. Yeah, I was 15, 16, give or take. So I was a little young kid, man. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was just doing what my friends were doing. You know, we were popping X, we were doing acid, we were doing K, we were we were smoking, we were drinking. Like, we were young kids, just no supervision, just partying all the time. And I remember Monster Massive so vividly, and I remember waiting in line. It took almost 2 freaking hours just to get in. And I remember as we were getting closer to the front gate, I was getting kind of paranoid because I had my X. I had literally my pills, and I had my acid on me. So I was like, holy smokes. Yeah, I'm getting close and I have nowhere to hide it. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to hide it. I was going to like put it in my shoe or something. And I was like, you know what? Screw this. There's about 10 people in front of me. I'm about to get in. It's going to take about half an hour, 45 minutes for it to kick in. Whatever. I'm just going to pop it. So I pop it while I'm waiting in line. And I guess that I didn't time it correctly, because there was the 10 people. It took another like hour just to get in. So by the time I got through the gate, got through security check, and they patted you down, as soon as I was the first one out of my group. There's probably like 10 of us. The first one out of my group, I remember just sitting on the floor watching everyone, because right when you walk in, there's like a big open field, like area, and then you could start walking into the arena. But I remember I was the first one in, and then as soon as I got in, bam! Holy smokes, the X just hit me. And I remember just sitting down on the floor, just rolling. I was thizzing, and I hear the music in the background, and then I see all my friends come up, and they're like, hey, yo, Try, you good? Ah, man, it was such a crazy night. I ended up rolling so hard that I was on the floor in a water puddle, just rolling literally around in the water puddle. I had a white t-shirt that night, as I still wear now. And that night, I remember I ended up leaving the event with my shirt all black. Cause you gotta remember, it's I was rolling around in like cement. One of the stages was in like a tent area, and I was just rolling around in the water, like literally just like rolling my balls off in a puddle of water, not knowing what the hell was going on. And we ended up inside the freaking dance floor, like the main stage. And mind you, back then it wasn't as packed as it is now, so you can walk all the way to the front, almost see the DJ, get into the speakers with no hassle. So me and my friends, we make our way to the front, and I'm hugging on the speaker. Ugh. Oh, I love you, speaker. This music sounds so good to me. Just just in my face. We ended up on like the stadium area, like the seating, and looking down at everything. And I think that was one of those moments where you kind of take things in and you fall in love with life. That's exactly what happened to me that night. That moment when that happened, I literally fell in love. I fell in love not with myself or with anyone, but more so with just life. It was such a wonderful feeling. And growing up as a kid, my dad, he was super strict, like hella strict. So anything I did, I used to get in trouble. Like I couldn't stay up late. I couldn't stay up late talking on the phone to girls. He would just yell at me all the time. And he just made it very difficult. And I guess I can understand, as a someone that escaped the war, they come into a country where they're not unsure of the culture. And him, my dad, he was very studious, he was very disciplined. So for him, he expected that out of his kids too. But the hard part about what my dad went through was that he came into another world, not understanding the language, not understanding the culture, how times were changing. Like if he can look back at life and just do a side-by-side comparison, I'm sure he will look at life when he first came to America and look at it now and be like, yo, things are so different. Like when he came here, there was no cell phones, there was no internet. And now it's like you got touchscreen phones, we got electric cars that can drive by themselves. Like that's a whole new world. It's a whole new perspective, and it's crazy to actually think about something like that. It's pretty wild. But my dad, he was so strict. So when I got to this point where I went to the rave, and mind you, I've been raving way before this event, like forever. It was just such a freeing moment. It felt liberating. One of the things I look back when at that day was like, I'm glad that I met the people that I met and introduced me to this life, because I would have never known it. Sometimes people go through life and they search for love their whole life. Like that's all they want is love. And some people never find it. So I feel like in life, people go through life just looking for love, never being able to actually find it, to grasp onto it. And I found it that day. Not even just with somebody, but just falling in love with being alive. And I think one of the big things was that, like, I still reflect on this day, because you gotta remember, I grew up very strict. Like my dad was just so freaking strict. And I've never felt so free in my life. And I was rolling like hella back then before this event. But I never got that feeling, of like liberty. Most times when I'm rolling, I'm just like, okay, cool, man, I'm fucking high. But that was the first time in my life I felt what freedom was like. And maybe it's the wrong term, or maybe I was looking at it from a wrong angle. I don't know. I guess that's like the biggest takeaway, right? Like people go their whole lives searching for love, never finding it. Whether it's in love with themselves, I don't know, maybe it's in love with someone out there up above, some higher power. Heck, maybe even in love with themselves. And I was very fortunate enough to go ahead and experience that. So I guess that's the one takeaway from this video, is just whatever you're doing, man, that life is short. Life is so short to be angry, to like have restrictions, and not just fall in love with yourself and fall in love with the world, and fall in love with someone else. Take that chance, man, because you never know where it's going to lead you. And I say this from a place of content, because now I'm at a point in my life where I can understand heartbreak, I can understand betrayal, I can understand what it means to have nothing. Like I've been there, homeless, literally living on the street, like on the sidewalk, homeless, no car, no nothing. So I get it, and I can't say that I understand your pains and what you're going through, but I can relate. So if you haven't found love yet, first with yourself, start there, man, before you start loving someone else.